निशान साथ है इतने के कुछ शुमार नहीं हमार दीन का क़िस्सों पे ही मदार नहीं।
My experience of God's existence are many, but I'll pick this particular one that is related to my third daughter. I've got a lot of my other daughters who had earlier on married, but my third daughter, when she got pregnant, there was no issue at all because she attended her antenatal very well. The scan was conducted on her and everything was certified normal. Until this very day, 7th of December 2021.
While I was 9 months pregnant, before my due date, I went for my last checkup scan. So at the diagnostic center where I did my scan, that's where I've been using for the past 8 months. There was no any issue with my baby, no anomaly. The baby was normal. So the radiologist said he has a second opinion, then he did the test again, but I didn't know the medical time, so I just collected my test result, then I took it to my doctor.
The test revealed that the baby was hydrocephalus.
I and my husband cried bitterly that day, but he said maybe it was a mistake from the diagnostic center I used, that we should go to a bigger diagnostic center. Then December 8, 2021, I set out around 7 a.m. We went to more than 4 diagnostic centers, repeating the scan over and over and over again, believing there was a mistake somewhere, and all the scan was showing my daughter has hydrocephalus.
So immediately she got back to her doctor and the doctor said the baby must be removed that very day.
Okay, before then I talked to our Movi. He said I should write to Uzuru, and I've been writing to the Uzuru prior to the due date at least 4 letters. So I wrote to Uzuru that night that he should pray for me. I should come out of the surgery room successfully.
The surgery was done and the baby was born.
And when I was conscious in the morning, everybody was saying, the baby looks normal. She does not look as if she has hydrocephalus, but the head was a little bit big, but it was not as what we're seeing on the phone of other cases.
There were this conflict opinion from the doctors that attended to her. One of them said the baby is okay, we can go home, that the hydrocephalus result was a mistake. Then the medical consultant himself said no, that we still need to see a consultant for the baby, that we should go home after the akiko. We can start the process of seeing a consultant at a teaching hospital.
So we took her home after a few days. I started praying because I was still not satisfied and nothing was wrong with her. Since that day I did my test, my mom has been fasting every blessed day and tajud, and my husband too was doing the same. I myself was also doing my zikri every day. I turned to God because there was no other place to turn to. We were always observing tajud, and my siblings also, they were not left out. Everybody was praying day in and day out.
After 2 weeks of delivery, we made up our mind. Before making up our mind, each time we get an information concerning the baby, I quickly get my missionary informed of the situation. We wrote almost 3 letters to the Uzuru, and even when I complained that we didn't see the results, he always encouraged me that I should not worry, that Allah is aware of our situation, and the Uzur himself, His Holiness, is always praying for us.
Before my kickoff, my baby started shrinking, but she eats a lot. She started shrinking. I was so worried.
After seeing the second scan, now revealed a greater and grievous situation. It told us that the baby is not only hydrocephalus, but she is semilobar. Semilobar is another grievous situation where the baby has no brain at all. I was confused.
And such child will not even live past 3 months. So the doctor said we should just accept our fate, that that's what she has, and we shouldn't cry, that we should even be hopeful that another one will come.
I cried every time. When I go to sujud, the only thing I could tell God was, I am here. I am here. So I now summon up courage to tell all my other children that at Tajud we should pray that Almighty Allah should take the baby back and replace her with another fine one.
Before we went back to my clinic, the teaching hospital, I didn't even know my mom has already told different ufas to start praying. Then she came to her house because my daughter has really changed. Then the head was already big because she was 3 weeks and her head was already measuring that of like 4 months old. And her eyes was bulging, it was sunsetting, she was shrinking. She was looking like an old woman.
On the second day, I was now looking for something to suit me. I decided to go to the Uzur. Since I cannot see him physically, I started going through his sermon. So I now came across this sermon where he talked about the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Hazrat Abu Bakr in the cave. And I heard that word from him, La Tazan. Immediately, I felt the grip in me that Uzur was talking to me. He was giving me that message, La Tazan, Inna Allah ma'ana. I read the translation to mean, do not fear, do not grieve. Allah is with you. Immediately, I called all my children and I told them that Uzur said Allah is with us.
When we went back to the teaching hospital on our on the date given to us, then when the doctor, the consultant saw the result, he said, why would anyone say this baby does not have brain? Fine, she's shrinking, but she's still active. Then he played the CD for us, explained to us in a layman term, this is the water, the white line is the brain, is the water that is covering the brain. After the surgery, she would be fine, inshallah.
Immediately, I called my missionary and told him that I was afraid. Why would they perform surgery on such a small baby? She was barely a month then. My missionary said, write the Uzur. We did again, and he said we should continue with the treatment, that surgery is part of the treatment. Before the operation, they had told us that the surgery is 50-50. Well, there's nothing we could do.
Immediately, the consultant admitted us. Then after January 6, 2022, the surgery was done, and immediately her head went down.
We were all there when the surgery was performed. We waited for a while before the baby was brought out of the theater. When she was brought out of the theater, at the ward, the baby was handed over to me. I just started saying that prayer of Bano, Afriga Leno Sobran, Pathabit Akdamono, Wansuruno Alalkome Kafirin. And as I stayed with the baby, it was like I was just listening to Uzu's sermon over and over again, where he told me that La Tazan, that I should not fear. Allah was with me then. And in fact, he's still with me.
On a norm, they usually discharge those babies 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But ours, our recovery was so fast. 1 week, they already discharged us. Then she started getting better. She started feeding well. Then it was showing. She started getting chubby. Alhamdulillah, she's fine now. Even if she lies down now, she can turn herself. She's even murmuring some words already. She smiles at me. Now she's going to 4 months. By April 8, she'll be 4 months. Well, alhamdulillah for Islam, Ahmadiyya, I'm happy.
A month after the surgery, a letter of Wakfino, a certificate came. So to the glory of God, she is a Wakfino now. And I pray that Almighty Allah grant her long life and good health to show her commitment to the Jamaat and Khilafatul Ahmadiyya.